everybody. My name's Craig.
I'm Brian.
I'm Burke.
And I'm Michelle.
And this is Get Dunked On, the podcast.
Ba 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 ba. What happened? We rehearsed and everything.
Wow.
Take my hand.
Well, at least with it sounding fucked up, I don't have to go back and edit you guys over top of each other.
Yeah, trying to do
So,
shit. Yeah.
Now it's just going to be all fucked up, and I'm not going to worry about
I
it.
like it.
This is the first week. Not only did we think ahead on it, but we rehearsed and we blew it.
I know.
I'm
the timing. It's so hard with the timing, even because you're.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to blame it on.
You know what?
It's not that I'm tone deaf. It's not that I'm a horrible singer. Yeah.
No,
It's
it's
the
technology. You know what?
Technology.
And that's why this week I took a step back in time away from technology and went to the Renaissance Fair. And that was way nicer than having my phone out all day. I mean, usually I'm playing Pokemon
You're not
Go,
a millennial. Shut the fuck up.
I mean, I am, but you know, whatever. No, but it was cool though. It was cool. I actually went there and spent the whole day at the Renaissance Fair, about 6 hours, just walking around and enjoying the Renaissance Fair and everything else. So, have you guys ever been to the Renaissance?
I've been once.
I have never.
Never?
I have never. Honestly, did not know about them until I was well into college. And at that point, you know, none of the people we hung out with were necessarily going to do that at the time, or at least like, you know, in our local area.
I went.
We weren't going to go at that point. So, well, yeah, but you and I didn't talk about that kind of stuff either at that time.
That's true, I suppose. So Burke, you said you have or have not gone?
I have been. I, unlike Craig, grew up hearing about it because it was only for 15 miles north of me, and for a city of Houston, which, you know, takes 2 hours to get across and is 100 miles wide. It was pretty close.
Yeah.
But I never went until, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, no
and
kidding.
had a blast. But interesting story. That was my parents' first date, was a Renaissance Fair.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding. That's your parents' first romance was watching the joust.
Of course. You know,
And
what else?
eating a giant turkey leg.
Yeah, I know. How romantic. And then, you know, and then to top it off, he asked her to marry her on April Fool's, and she thought it was a joke.
Man, this guy killed it.
I mean, he did not even think about it. Yeah.
I was going to say, did he plan that out?
No.
And it just happened to run? Okay, so it just happened to run on the first.
It just happened to be on the first. She thought it was a joke.
Good for him.
Yeah, you know, that's my dad.
Love
The man. Love the man.
I mean, technically, I was at the Renaissance Fair on a date, but it wasn't a first date situation. But yeah.
Wait. It gets better.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm going to reverse and go, the first date, my mom didn't know it was a date. Yeah.
This guy sounds about as smooth as sandpaper. But at the same time, I respect his game.
He's there's no game, but somehow it worked out.
I was about to say, the results speak for themselves, man.
I'm here.
Absolutely.
So something happened.
So what do you do at a Renaissance fair? Like, I literally know nothing about Renaissance fairs besides the only thing I've ever heard is that you go there, and if you ever basically show with technology or like you do anything that's now times, people either act indignant or completely confused, and they not call you out, but something along those lines. That's all I know. So it's like one of those things. You go there, I'm like,
I didn't have that experience because I had my phone out constantly taking pictures, and nobody ever reacted to that.
Yeah, see, that would be me. I would definitely have my phone out, my Switch. I'd pull out my 3DS here and there, and then everybody would be like, "Why didn't you stay home?" And I'd be like, "This is why I fucking asked if I could stay home, but you said I had to come."
No. Okay. So I'm with Michelle on this. They don't really necessarily call you out on it per se, unless you're talking directly to like the character players there. Like the way the fair is set up, it's basically so. The idea behind it is that you're supposed to be, quote unquote, it's like stepping back in time, but realistically, it's a glorified version of what we think that the Renaissance era was like. So you have tons and tons of shows, but the shows are always like Renaissance centric, if that makes any sense, meaning that they're going to use props and things that are, would be done.
They use Shakespeare jokes.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And depending on the weekend you go, they have different themes and whatever. The weekend I went, was kind of all over the board. It was, listen to this, in one weekend, or then this one, the one weekend, it was Deaf Awareness weekend. So they had signers at every show, which is great. It was also, they had a steampunk costume contest, which was like, which is one random weekend out of the 2 months that it's running. It was a Doctor Who costume contest and a belly dance competition for the state. Those are like the highlights of the weekend as far as like the specialty novelty stuff. But beyond that, every day that they're open, that is, and they're only open on weekends. They have standard shows. They have a lot of shops, so you could literally buy a sword if you really wanted to. And they're not like the play swords, and they're not like the rounded edges. Like they're legitimate, full on swords that are sharpened and everything else. You can just buy them. There's axe throwing. There's axe throwing, there's darts, there's knife throwing, archery, and a bunch of like I'm gonna call them kind of like a carnival, but medieval carnival, like throwing tomatoes at people, like stuff like that as well. Plenty of food, drink, beer, wine, all that stuff. So it kind of has like a little bit of everything, including an actual joust. And I wasn't kidding about that. Like people on horses hitting each other with sticks, like
full
now
full
they
board.
used to go full board, but they are not allowed to anymore after some incidents. Like legitimate.
I'm sure.
But I did watch a dude get rocked off his horse and land on his back and wriggle on the ground for a while until they got him up, and they're like, "Yay, he's okay, folks!" And I'm like, "Oh shit, that dude's hurt!" Like oh yeah.
I mean, I can imagine you just miss even if it's a show, you miss
by like
from here to here.
Oh, yeah.
That is a drastic change. You miss from the center of the chest, right at the heart. You go about a foot upwards. You're putting it right through someone's skull.
What happened was the guy got hit, and he's wearing a full like thing of armor, and the horse got kind of spooked and like threw him off. So he landed on his back in a full suit of armor, just in the just going. Like you could hear, him in the helmet just going, oh, like the dude hit hard. So I mean, as much as it is a scripted event for the that stuff, it's still pretty legit, you know. But what I'm getting at is this: you go there to have a good time and to be with either family, friends, or whatever. And so a lot of people will dress up and get into the swing of it, and really, as you said, do the what is thou cell phone, and all that stuff. But not everybody does that. I know I didn't. I had a flannel shirt and jeans.
Yeah, I've never dressed up really for the one I went to, but I totally would. Like
I would too.
It's fun. Like I knew people who worked it, so I would go and talk to them. I would talk to the blacksmiths, and it's really just fun talking to people, and because it's a different breed of people, but so were we, and so we kind of fit in, and it's a lot of fun. Like, it's maybe not the most appropriate story, but I'll tell it anyway because my wife thought it was absolutely hysterical. So, like, a lot of people wear corsets, right?
Mm-hmm,
and
that's
so
true.
Obviously the breasticles are up and very perky, and it's but there was one woman who was wearing, and she had painted eyes on the top of her breasts coming out of the corset, and I see it, and I have no filter. We kind of know this, and I just go, holy shit, that's the first time a pair of tits have stared back at me. And I went, oh shit. Oh shit. I said, and like, this girl just like glares at me, and I'm like, of course I'm with Emily and I'm with my friends, and they're just like, God damn it, Burke. Shit happens. But it's fun. And like, but she wasn't that bad. Like she kind of glared at me and then smiled. So.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Some people are cool about, others are very they're into their pieces. So I get that.
Yeah. I would recommend going. Like
I even went.
Of course, like in Houston, it's in late fall, like November, so it's not sweltering. So you can go on weekends where it's cold, and then you can go on weekends where you go in shorts and a t-shirt and you're sweating. So you just never know.
And ours runs till through October, because then after that it gets too cold.
Yeah, I kind of want to go to the one up here. See how it is. So.
Oh, for sure.
Speaking of stuff that has come out of the Renaissance, we are actually going to discuss wonders of the world. And what we're doing here is we've each picked a handful of things that top our own personal wonder lists. They're not necessarily things that are on official ones, just things that we chose that we think are cool, places we want to go, anything like that.
Wonders of the world. I made an entire list about Waterworld. I'm so messed up. I'm sorry.
You can go first.
Kevin Costner. Oh,
get the embarrassing stuff out of the way.
Good things about the movie Kevin Costner.
Yeah, Kevin Costner from Waterworld.
So what the original ones were the Great Pyramid of Giza, Hanging Gardens of Babylon, Statue of Zeus at Olympia, Temple of Artemis at I don't know how to say that. Yep. There we go. The Mausoleum at Heraclius, Colossus of Rhodes, it's that one, and the Lighthouse of Alexandria. Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
And they just redid them like in 2007, didn't they?
That question.
Oh, I am so sorry.
It's okay.
I'll stop. I'm gonna stop then because I don't want to ruin the new one.
Oh man, way to blow it,
Craig. You're fired.
No, it's fine.
Like,
I don't have the new ones on the
music?
list because there's multiple lists that are new ones.
Okay.
Gotcha. But yeah, no, those. But the ancient ones, I mean, comparatively to what we created on our list, I'm sure they're very comparable.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're exactly comparable.
So Michelle, would you like to lead us off by telling us some of yours?
Sure. Do you want to go through my whole list first, or do we want to go like one at a time?
Oh, I hadn't even considered going that method.
I would say one at a
let's
time.
do that. I like that
that'd
idea.
Be kind of cool.
Okay.
I'll follow you, Michelle.
Okay. And then we can do Brian and then Burke. So mine, I did not put I didn't rate them like number one as my top one. I just, it's just 1 through 5 to me.
That's what
same.
I did too.
Yeah. So, my first one, and I mean, we all know it, but I have a picture of it anyway. My first one is actually the Great Barrier Reef / the oceans in general.
You're claiming the entire ocean? So 3/4 of the planet?
I am, because there's so much shit in the ocean, and we don't even know everything that's in there. And to me, that's one of the most amazing parts, is it's still a complete mystery to us at certain parts.
Interesting.
But if I had to narrow it down to a specific place, I would obviously pick the Great Barrier Reef, which I've just linked in the chat, which I'm sure you've all have seen pictures of it before. But
oh man, that looks like a death trap. I mean, beautiful. That's what I was meaning to say.
Who can find Nemo? Go.
Okay. I'll start off. These are not in order because I don't know how I would order these. It'd be so hard to order these in a this is more important to me than the other ones. But I will start off with this one, and I'm going to actually put the image into the Skype call that we're doing right now.
Okay.
So the first one is going to be the Joe Louis Arena. This, as we have talked about beforehand, sports were a huge part of my early life. And so for me, this would have been just one of the, I don't know how to say it. This is just one of the huge things for my childhood. This is a huge bonding thing for my dad and I, and just the joy that I've gotten for many, many years, since all the way up until literally going to be a month from ish now. That has been the home of my favorite hockey team and my first love, my first, sports love. So that to me is just one of the top, that's the top, one of the top ones in the world for me, top places in the world.
Well, I mean, I get that. I mean, now that aren't they now in the new Little Caesars Arena and all that stuff?
Yep. They are in the Little Caesars Arena now. But I don't have any attachment to that, so I can't really put it there yet. I thought about having it be Little. I was like, no, but it's the Joe still. It's
the Joe is where it all began for you.
Yeah, that's where it began for me.
I get that. Is it my turn on this?
Yep.
Yeah, it's yours.
Okay. So we'll see if this picture will go here. My choice for the first one, anyway, I said they're in no particular order, is I don't know if this is going to actually send. Nope. Oh well. As I just tried to click and drag it. Oh well. Is the Ghostbusters Firehouse or I guess more. I'd say what it's actually known as Hook. It's Hook and Ladder number 8 in New York, and it's a place that I have been, and I would recommend everyone go. But what it is to me, it's a significant thing because I remember going to New York and seeing it in person, and it is an active firehouse for the record. And watching the cartoon as a kid, seeing the movies and all that stuff growing up, going in person and seeing the Ghostbusters firehouse, like it literally like kind of like choked me up. I was like, oh God, it's all real. And it's not all real, but like the fact that the building exists makes it feel real, if that makes any sense. I don't know how to describe it, but like it's not a set. It's a real building that physically exists that you can go and see. So for me, I would say that is on my list of like one of the wonders of the world is that the Ghostbusters firehouse.
Fair enough. All right. So my, I guess, first one is, well, it was rather big, because it's technically the largest state in the United States. It was Alaska. So I decided I would narrow it down, because it is seriously the most beautiful place on earth I've ever been. And I want to go back and I want to live there mainly in the summer. I don't want to go live there in the winter. But I picked actually Mount Denali in Alaska, just because I want to climb it one day. So it's like one of the most dangerous mountains to climb in North America. But I put a picture in the chat. I think it's beautiful. And the fact that you can see that mountain from Anchorage, which is hundreds of miles away, is just shows you the scale. Like I remember leaving Alaska, and like when I was leaving, like it was clouds, and so you couldn't see anything. But then way in the distance, there was just this peak that came out of the clouds. And of course, it was white. You just had to know what you were looking for. I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. And that just the Mount Denali is just, and so is Alaska. So there you go.
Even though I'd never been there, that was on my honorable mention list. It was one of those, like, I think it's awesome and I want to go.
Yeah. So Burke, for the next go round, I'm not going to strike this from my list. I'm just going to say it. Alaska. I swear to God, I would let you see my list, but then it'd give away the rest of them.
It was on mine. It was on mine, and I removed it. I want to put that up there.
Yeah.
I remember going to Alaska, specifically spent 2 weeks in southern Alaska driving around with my family. We flew into Anchorage and then took an RV around southern Alaska for like 2 weeks. Most beautiful place on earth, unquestionably. There's nothing more awe-inspiring than Alaska itself. So I didn't narrow it down to a mountain like you did on that one. I just left it at the state, but I am right with you on that 110%. Alaska is a wonder of the world and should be treated as such. So I'm down.
All right, so my next one is the Parthenon in Greece. Not even close to the most impressive thing the Greeks ever built, but I feel like it's like the real like quintessential Greek thing, and Greece is like the number one place that I want to visit. So the Parthenon on Acropolis Hill is one of mine because I think it's one of the longest standing buildings that are still around. So
you're telling me that the girl that worships Apollo in our D&D sessions is a fan of Greek culture and history? Like,
nope.
What?
Not at all.
What a weirdo, right?
You know how hard it was to not make my entire list like just places in Greece? I was like, no, don't do that.
You and I had a similar problem, but with just different subjects.
What, sports arenas?
Oh man.
Don't give it away. You don't even have to go to Greece. Just come to Nashville. We've got a replica of it.
I know. Do you know how I had to like sift through Google Images to find the real one because the Nashville one kept coming up?
No kidding. I didn't know that.
Wow.
We had to fucking run around that for like 45 minutes to an hour when we were pledging.
And make up a story based on the
and we had to make up
shit that was I remember that.
All the imagery on the outside of it, we had to make up a story based on it.
Kind of fun.
And they're like, that's not good enough. Run another lap. And we have to go run again and come back up with something
the whole running
else.
thing was stupid, but
you didn't take me there when I visited, and, you know.
No, I didn't. We didn't leave the house all that much, did we?
Well, I mean, we did a little, not a lot, but yeah, you're right. We got chicken that one day.
Technically, we did beat Burke and I leaving. Burke and I, he was here for like 4 days longer than you were. Him and I hardly left. We were playing Halo 5 the whole time.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to jump on to my next one here. So, I'm going to do this one next to sort of break things up a little bit. This is a place in Redmond, Washington. It is now currently called
3 for 3.
the 343 Industry
Reliable
Studios.
Industry.
Yes. But beforehand, it was Bungie as well during the initial Halo days. Bungie moved out to their own place once they moved away from Microsoft, and 343 stayed there. So the entirety of the Halo series, for the most part, was built in that building. So that would be another one of the ones that I would just be, hey, that's one that game's defined my life since I was in ninth grade now.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit before that. I think ninth grade basically.
I think it came out when we were in ninth grade. Yeah,
2001 I think is when it came out, right? September 2000 September 2001.
Wow.
Or is it November 15th 2001? Sorry. So since 2001. 16 years now, that's been a huge part of my life. Obviously, it was one of the things that brought us together, Brian. It's one of the things that brought Burke and I together.
I never cared for the game.
We always played it so much, and it was just, it was such a binding experience that those games were with me and my friends. So it ended up being one of those ones. I'm like, I have to put this on there. Just the creation and the everything about it.
All right. We'll go with my next one, which is also a place I happen to have been, and that's actually the Grand Canyon. I remember hearing stories about, oh, it's awesome. I'm like, seeing pictures of it. Yeah, it looks cool. It's fucking cool.
Is it really? Is it worth the trip?
I've always been told that pictures do not do it justice.
They don't.
Yeah.
I remember it was, I don't know, 3 years ago I went, and I was like, I knew I was going to hike it. I went from South Rim to North Rim and back. And just so you know, that trek was 20 miles, if not more.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it wasn't even the widest part of the canyon that I trekked. Like 20 miles. That's huge. So for me, I remember walking up to the first time and going, you just get these chills because pictures can't describe it. What you see, you just go, because literally, if you're coming up from the south, where I guess is where I came up, it was just you flew in and you saw a few canyons. You can see some deserty shit, and then there's some trees, and then you walk up, and all of a sudden there's just fucking nothing for thousands of feet below you, and it's miles. As I said, 20 miles wide. Yeah. It's just...
I believe the Grand Canyon got the 8th wonder of the world status because...
Really?
Yeah, because the new list was updated by people voting.
Yeah.
And the viewer vote was not the official vote, but the viewer vote was the Grand Canyon, so they gave it the honorary status.
Yeah.
Won the popular vote.
Yeah, it's and you just can't describe it. You go, you just get this feeling I am tiny. I've climbed 14,000 foot mountains before this, which are taller than, are taller than the Grand Canyon. It's, deep. But when you get there and it's a mile deep, basically, roughly, and you're just I am tiny. I have a video where I'm sitting, I'm stupid. I am sitting on a 1,500 foot drop. So, my feet, there's nothing below me for 1,500 feet, and I have a video of a helicopter, and it looks like a speck flying through the canyon. And I'm not at the top of the canyon, mind you. I am in the middle of the canyon at that point, and there's still 1,500 feet below me. You can't describe it. Videos can't do it justice. You just got to go, and don't go in the summer. It's hot. Go early spring and what I did. Because you can't even get to the North Rim because there's still snow, which is just baffling because it's so cold. It is just incredible. I would recommend it to anyone. So, sorry, I talked too much probably.
No. It's all good. No, I definitely like that. That's a pretty. I think it's a good one personally. But
So Michelle, back to you.
All right, so my next one is the Marble Caves in Chile, which I've just posted a picture of.
wow,
So pretty much it's just they were caves formed by constant batterings of waves, and there's so much color. It's unbelievable. Like, that picture is only a fraction of the colors that have been formed in these cave walls. And it looks really cool. And like a lot of other pictures I was looking at, I mean, there's people boating and swimming, and it just looks like a very beautiful, peaceful place.
huh? Yeah, it really does. It's a very pretty picture.
It actually that brings me to one of my runners up, and I'll throw it in there, which is the Rainbow Mountains of China. And it's kind of the same thing, just random trace elements of minerals.
Huh?
We're all in this area, and it's just been eroded down, and so you get this
World of Warcraft,
crazy.
Mr. Pandaria. Is that what that is?
Yeah,
Okay.
you get this craziness out of it. But that is not my next one. That was just a runner up that I had, and I was thinking about sharing, but I did anyway. So the next one is going to again be something that's very tied with me, my father, and my childhood growing up, which is another place that we spent a lot of time. Oh, wow. I picked a really big photo to send. It's 21 megabytes. It'll eventually get through, guys. Dad and I spent a lot of time here every single year, every single fall. It was something him and I we were constantly there. Let me know. Did that picture go through?
Yeah, I just got
I
it.
mean,
Yep.
it says the
Okay,
big
let me know.
house.jpg. I wonder what that is.
Yes. So it is Michigan Stadium. It's something that, like, as much as I don't really watch football or care for football all that much anymore, it still is one of those places that, like, the surrounding area, tailgating with my dad, even though we didn't really tailgate, we would just go with other people and then sort of hang out around them tailgating. It just was this whole experience with him and I, to where just the place itself, it'd be just for, in my family sense and in my personal life sense, it's kind of like sacred ground. It's not even like about the football team anymore. It's just, that was part of my childhood. That was a huge part of my childhood, was watching games. We'd go there a lot. We had a lot of different times we'd go there. And then obviously you were seeing it on TV as well, and seeing all the fans and seeing everything about it.
Sure.
So it's just, again, one of those things that it's really connected to me and my dad from my childhood.
Oh, I get that, and that's a good one.
The big house is impressive.
It really is.
Yeah.
So, I guess I'm up next. The next thing that I chose was also kind of related to my childhood in a way. I chose Nintendo World in New York.
I took this off my list too.
And I chose this specifically for a couple of reasons. One, it's located in Rockefeller Center, which is my favorite place in all of New York City, and I spent a lot of time there. And whenever I would go there, and I was there a lot. I would go in, and it's basically, it's kind of like my Graceland, if that makes any sense. For those of you who are, that kind of, fans of the King and all that stuff. You walk in, and it's just like you get hit by this wave of like nostalgia, like on the upper floor especially. And there's like these great cases that basically, that goes through the entirety of like Nintendo gaming history. And every time I went there, it'd be like, man, I remember when I first got this, and oh man. And there's always young and old people and they're that are there, and they're like, dads with their kids and their arm around them going, yeah, so when I was your age, I had this, and oh man, check this out. And then, everyone has a story about it. And it's just basically, it's kind of I don't know how to describe it other than it's just a place of like pure joy, if that makes any sense. And that's just why I put it on my list.
Right. So my next one is probably the only place I haven't been on my list, but I would absolutely love to go in the next, maybe not this year, but probably next year. And that's Crystal Caves or Ice Caves in Iceland.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, they're...
Took this off my list also.
Oh, dude. Like, I've just got to go. They're just beautiful. Walking in like with ice, hundreds of feet of ice above you. Yeah. And like, I just want to go to Iceland in general.
Yeah, I was gonna say Iceland in general was on my list, and then I was like, I had to boot a lot of things off to try to narrow it down.
Well, I mean, like, because technically, like, I could have put Norway. Because going to Norway was very similar to Alaska, and I'd say not quite as cool as I'm picturing Iceland to be.
Quite as cool.
Yes, even though it is further north. But like going there, like that was amazing too, and that was probably my honorable mention on my list was being, going back to Norway and not being on a work trip, because there was some really cool stuff there. But yeah, anyways, the ice caves, crystal caves.
Fair enough. That's a pretty good one. Actually, I never didn't know I didn't know those existed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're awesome looking. So my next one is the only one on my list that I've actually been to. Most of mine were things that I want to go to, and that is Lake Superior. Kind of the Great Lakes in general, but specifically Superior.
Because it's superior.
People here
play the air horns.
People here, they're always raving about the ocean, and like, don't get me wrong, like going to the ocean is cool, but people don't understand that when you're next to the Great Lakes, it doesn't feel any different. And so they're like expecting me to feel like impressed by the ocean, and I'm like, this just looks like the Great Lakes at home,
and it's not like, fucking salty.
Yeah. But anyway, but I mean, Lake Superior is just absolutely beautiful. There's the Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore, which is what the photo is of. The shipwreck tour is really fascinating. The lake, I don't know if people realize how big the lake is, but I'm pretty sure it's the biggest lake in the world by area. It's just absolutely massive. The shorelines are beautiful, and like, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan in general is pretty heavily untainted by human hands. Yep. So it's just a nice place to be. There's a ton of waterfalls around off all the rivers. So that was my fourth one.
Yeah. So I once this is kind of I know we're kind of going through these, but I'll tell you a really quick story. I once got into a fight with a doctor over the Great Lakes. So this is a true story. So I was working in somewhere down south. I don't remember where exactly. And a doctor I was working with was originally from Russia. And, he had so him and I were sitting there talking, and I go, oh, I'm from Michigan. He goes, oh, I'm from Russia. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And we started talking about, the water and all that stuff. And I go, yeah, we got the Great Lakes, most fresh water in the world. He goes, no. He goes, in Russia, we have biggest freshwater lake. I go, no, you don't. I go, we do. We have Superior. He goes, no. He goes, Russia has it. And we got into an actual fight over whether or not who had the most fresh water, biggest freshwater lake. So we ended up having to Google it, and this is swear to God, this is real. In the middle of our day, so there's patients waiting in the other room, but we're Googling to find out who has more water, and then he finds out that I was right, and Superior has the biggest one. Russia has the second biggest one, but and he goes internet lie, and then he leaves to go see the patient. True story. That's true.
I thought it was like on top of some random mountain in Chile was the single biggest lake.
No, it's Superior by surface area. It's Superior.
Oh yeah,
there's other ones that are like by volume and stuff.
By volume, it's the Chile one because it's super deep.
Yeah, right. But that's surface what it is. Area, it's yeah.
Yeah, but okay. Never mind. I won't get into that at this point. Okay. Actually, that I had to take off Superior from mine. I've actually never been there as well, but that was one of the ones on my list. But I was trying to get things out of Michigan, and I did really, really bad at picking things outside of the state of Michigan. So the next one I have is a place that I believe you all have been to. Burke, maybe not, but he's at least been by it. And it's actually going to be the NCG Trillium Theater in Grand Blanc.
I've been there.
Okay.
I love that place.
Okay.
Granted, it's not my favorite place to watch a movie that has by far been taken over by the remodeled place that we have down here now. But I ended up putting it on there because it was the meeting place of me and my wife. So it'll always kind of hold that special significance. I know it means something else to her because that's where she worked.
Points.
That's where she works. So she'll probably look at me like, okay, yeah, but that place was hell or something along those lines. But I had to put that because our first date was at Buffalo Wild Wings, and I was like, that just seems, I don't want to put that. That's not good. So I moved. Granted, it's about 15 seconds away. You can walk
Hey,
to it.
your first date could have been at a
True.
Renaissance fair.
It could have been. But then we wouldn't have known that we were on the date. And then I would have, asked her to marry me on this random date that made her think I was lying. It'd have been weird.
Awkward, am I right, folks? Oh man. Yeah, no, that's a pretty good one. I didn't realize that she started listening to this podcast, but that's fine. No.
Oh no, she doesn't love me that much. I can tell you that right now.
I'll say too, like before a lot of like AMC's and stuff got remodeled, the Trillium was easily the nicest theater I'd ever been to.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at the time,
it still was all the way up until they redid the place down here with the like dine-in recliners and all the stuff they put in at the theater down here. Until then, that was still easily the better one.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, this next seeing that on this list makes my next one feel better. This is a place that I have not ever been, but I felt like it had to be on here. It requires a little bit of explanation, but here you go. It's the Sam Adams Brewery. I felt that needed.
What?
I felt like that
beer?
needed to. I do, and that's why I had to put it on here because. The idea was that it had to be a wonder of the world that I felt important enough. And first off, brewing beer I find to be a very fun and interesting thing. 2, I like beer, obviously. 3, it's something that I do with my dad. And 4, I've never been disappointed by the seasonals from Sam Adams, and like they're the most what I'm going to call reliable, I don't know what to call it, but franchise beer, if that makes any sense. Like, you have your Miller and your Coors and your Bud. It's like, no, I'm a Sam Adams man through and through in that respect, if I'm not going to do a specialty thing. So I figured that was best representation. So Sam Adams Brewery, woo! I'm going actually this October, I think. I'm not joking.
Nice. All right. So this, let's see. I'm going to go with kind of probably going along with my theme. And my next one is actually Mammoth Cave.
Ooh.
The world's largest, I don't know if it still is, but it was known as the world's largest cave system. And it's in Kentucky.
I think it still is.
Yeah, but like regardless, it's fucking massive.
You think it's still in Kentucky? Like it hasn't moved yet?
I'm pretty sure it hasn't.
No, it got up and walked away, but it's still the biggest.
Yeah. So, but no, it I don't know if you've ever been, but Craig, I know you drive past it a couple times a year, I'm sure, or used to.
Oh, I've driven past it a whole lot and just kept right on going.
But it's that like you can't even describe it. It's just and it's beautiful. That's about it. Like there's so many different caves like that are in that central Kentucky region. And they're all somehow connected, and they still haven't even mapped it. That's how freaking big it is.
Do they call it Mammoth Cave because they found mammoth bones in there, or just because it's like so big they just were like, oh, it's a mammoth cave?
No clue.
I'm just curious.
I would actually say they probably found some kind of bones in there.
I think it's
because
both.
Every time we drive by it, there's a massive dinosaur on the side of the road, and my wife loves dinosaurs, and so every time it's a T-Rex going by, and she's like, oh, and points at it.
Mammoths and T-Rex didn't exist at the same time period. That's what's
I'm
way
just saying
off
that there's
base. Wow,
bones
you are
there.
terribly scientifically
I'm saying
inaccurate. My
there's
God, you think this guy would have gone to school once?
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's bones there. I don't know what kind, but they probably were able to do something with that.
So that dinosaur that you see is like literally I've spent months and probably years of my life right in that whole area because that's where a lot of my mom's side of the family's from.
Oh, there you go.
Fun facts.
All right, so my last one is the only thing that's from modern day or not natural. And it's pretty self-explanatory. It's the Library of Congress. It's the world's biggest library.
You like books?
Yeah, I kind of like books a little bit, so...
Isn't the President's
Since
Book
the
of
Beast
Secrets in
Library
there?
doesn't actually exist, I had to go with the real one, so...
No?
We're going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
We're going to get the President's
Yeah,
book.
we're going to work on it.
It's in there. It's incredible.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is just like a very small volume. I could be occupied for the rest of my life, probably.
Probably.
So...
Oh, yeah. Look
at
page 76.
How many books are in there? Like I guess I've never realized that was the biggest library on the earth.
God,
Did you
I
just
don't
say?
even know. Yeah, it's the biggest library in the world.
I did not know that. I don't know if that makes me a bad American or something, but I did not know. No, that probably actually makes me a good American. I was ignorant of libraries. But I had no idea that was the biggest one.
There are more than 16 million books and more than 120 million other items and collections.
Holy shit. Yeah, I would say that you'd probably be busy the rest of your life, even if you were slightly picky.
Yeah. You're like, no, I
I'm going to
don't
spend the
want
next
that
2
one.
decades in nonfiction and then move on to the next section. Like, oh my God.
Poof. Wow. Yeah, that's big. So, I'm going to continue on with my theme for my final one, even though it's sort of depressing now. But this is my final guy right here. And it is Comerica Park for the Detroit Tigers. That would end up having to be my final one. That has been the, again, partially it's something that Dad and I have gone to plenty of times, and baseball is a huge thing for us. So that's kind of the one of the cathedrals of the faith of Craig that would be there. So that's just kind of the final one. There's really not too much more that I can put on it in terms of that weren't kind of said by the Joe Louis Arena or Michigan Stadium. Kind of has the same vibe to it, but it's been a lot more recent for those ones where it's played a lot bigger part of my life in the last, since high school ish, luckily roughly right before they got good. So I feel a little bit better where I'm not completely bandwagoning, and I don't feel as bad now that they're completely decimating their entire season and losing horribly. And they're absolutely going to be sucky for the next 5 years at a bare minimum. But still, it's going to be one of those places for me.
Quite the positive outlook.
It would still, no, I've been wanting this for years now. And we can get to that on another week.
Okay,
I can go more into that in another week. But it's been something I've been wanting them to. Actually, yes, go Astros. We traded Justin Verlander to the Astros, so that is my American League team now. And my National League team is the Diamondbacks, because that's where we traded JD Martinez. So come on, Diamondbacks, Astros, World Series.
Terrible. Oh boy. For my last one, I had to be a little bit of a dick. So here's the deal. We've been sitting.
Have a little dick?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, everybody knows that. That's well known, documented science at this point.
Yes.
So, no, here's what I had to do. The entire time when I was coming up with my list and thinking about the wonders of the world, we were expressing it and talking about it in terms of like, oh, everybody should see blah, 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 right? Like it should be something that we think that it's important enough, or it should be significant enough that people should see this, or, whatever. Kind of. So in my head, I said, well, what would be like, I want to make it worth it. I want to make it something that like if somebody sees this or gets to do it, that they had to earn it. Right. So that's why I have decided that my last one is going to be the very tip of Mount Everest. The very, very tip. So the very tip of Mount Everest is what I would like to declare one of the wonders of the world. And what I mean by that is this. If you
just the top 2 meters.
Exactly. So if you wanted to be one of those guys who are like, I've seen every wonder of the world, you got to climb Mount Everest, shithead. Like you gotta get good. Okay. And like it makes it not only something that is I mean, to be honest with you, climbing Mount Everest is a huge feat, right? You can't buy your way to the top of Mount Everest. You need to do it, and if you really wanted to do it, and this makes it almost that much more incentivized. It's not just saying I've climbed Mount Everest. It's I've climbed Mount Everest and I've seen all 7 wonders of the world, like including Everest. Like yes, including Everest. So yeah, that's why I put that on there.
So basically, they could, if they were doing the Brian Schultz top 5, they could knock out 2 in a day. In New York, then they'd have to go over to Alaska next. Maybe. Well,
they go to they go to Boston first, and then go to Alaska. Yeah.
No, that is not the order this is going in.
Sorry.
Because you would go to Alaska next, and then you would climb Everest, and you would celebrate by going and getting beer afterwards at Sam Adams.
Right. I'm sorry. You were right.
Okay.
Your analysis was better than what I had designed.
Okay. All right, so I have to tell everybody, you're all wrong. I know what the 8th wonder of the world is.
My God.
It's undisputed. Just say that whether what you read on the internet, it's wrong. It's unfucking disputed. That I can't speak English. Because I have a glass that says 8th wonder. I do. And, if any of you are educated, you all know what it is. The Astrodome. Duh. It's the eighth wonder of the world.
Yeah.
First indoor stadium. It moved. You could play football. You had the rodeo in it. Play baseball, football, everything. Eighth wonder of the world. Period.
And it is kind of legit.
It's still standing. It's kind of sad because they still have power run to it. Technically sneak into it. There's been people who have done so, and but the first indoor stadium, and of course you know why, because it's in Texas and it's fucking hot and gross.
Very gross.
But yeah, like it was just a massive feat of engineering for early 80s. So undisputed, and of course Brian, going off of Brian, that they have a
if there's
eighth
a beer
wonder,
glass about it, it has to be true.
Yeah, eighth wonder. It's actually a brewery called Eighth Wonder right next. Well, it's not right next to the stadium, but it's in Houston, and it's phenomenal. Some of the best beer I've ever had. But anyways, I and going back to kind of what Craig said, I grew up going to games in this stadium. It was just incredible. And then a couple years back they were giving away or selling seats. I don't remember what the two for from the stadium. And there was you couldn't get, you had to wait in line for 5 or 6 hours to get one because there were so many people who wanted a piece of that stadium. And I grew up there watching baseball games. I went every week to a baseball game, and it was just incredible. I loved going to that stadium. So I miss it. There you go.
Fair enough. No, I get that.
So anyways, I'm assuming it's going to be quiz time now that we all know what the real answer is to the eighth wonder of the world.
Yeah.
Or was
I think the only other ones I had was there's two more. One of them was me and my wife related. Another one is more about kind of my world now. And I had to pick one specific spot to kind of symbolize it. Unfortunately, it's something that's across the entire world. But so I ended up picking the Hollywood Improv just because of the amount of time that we put in with the podcast here, the amount of time I put in with podcasts everywhere. And that was just the Improv is the only one that's been steady for the past whoever knows how long.
Yeah.
Where it's been my Monday morning every time I hear a show from the Hollywood Improv on Mondays. But the other one that I wanted to kind of put on there, but I wanted to keep mine to be man-made. I kind of went the opposite way Michelle did. I wanted all mine to be man-made, which is why the Rainbow Mountains of China got kept off as well, was the eclipse. And I'll do this as extremely fast. The only thing I could try and explain with, and for people that know me, if you had told me, if I had the ability to know how I felt during the eclipse, but I didn't actually experience it, but I just was able to go, oh, I know how I would feel during that. And then you gave me the option of going to see Game 7 of the World Series where the Tigers win. I don't know which one I would do.
Wow.
It was such an incredible experience. It sounds so stupid, but the entire time up until totality, you're like, okay, this is kind of cool. There's a sliver of it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt.
It wasn't really anything. And then it kind of crossed over and it just went, what the hell just happened? My brain broke. It completely just snapped. And I was just staring up at it. And I was all prepped to take pictures and stuff. I completely fucking forgot I had my camera. And I was like, oh shit. And after about a minute of it, I'm trying to take it off because I didn't have any pictures. I had a solar cover over top of it, which completely cut out all light from the sun at that point because there's so little light. It cut out everything. It couldn't see. So I was able to get a couple shots of it before I just put it back down. I was like, I don't want to deal with this. I just want to look at this. This is amazing. So it's super hard because it sounds so, if you don't see it, and I would have never thought what I thought going into it. I never thought it was going to be cool, but it just ended up being the absolute coolest thing I've ever fucking seen in my life. And it was such a weird, transcending, I don't want to say spiritual, but it was just this holy shit craziness.
Well,
I don't know.
That's one of those things that is truly a once in a lifetime thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be another one in 60 years. We're fine.
No, there's one in 2024, and it's in Illinois and
Texas,
Dallas and stuff.
Yeah, I'm going down to Texas for it. I really regret not going up to Wyoming to see it after Craig's reaction, watching some of the videos of it, going, holy shit.
It's if you guys have the ability to try and go see it, I suggest it because I take stuff like that where I'm like, and it completely broke my brain. just broke me.
And Craig actually went outside for it, so it must be good.
I don't leave the house often, but when I do,
it's worth it. All right, so we can jump into the quiz here. I think I have 11 questions. So it's not a very long one. A couple of them are a little more involved though, so it should still take us about an average amount of time. What's the quiz order today, Burke?
Good question. What is the quiz order today, Burke? It's going to be last time I did a quiz, it's going to be I will go first, and then it will be Greg, and then it will be Brian.
Nice.
Okay. All right, so we'll start off with the easy one today. Of the original 7 wonders of the ancient world, which Craig listed off earlier, which is the only one that still exists today?
I'm going first, right? I already forgot my order. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm trying. I'm not prepared today. I forgot completely to pull my spreadsheet up. Woo girl fail. Let's call it as it is. It's the Great Pyramid.
Holy callback, Burke!
I know, right? I thought I was thinking the same
that
thing.
was such a callback.
I'm sure it's still on the website, but
That's true.
Go ahead, Brian. Oh, it's my turn.
It's your turn. I'm last.
Okay, I know it for sure. If you want to go,
it's the pyramid, I think.
yeah,
right?
it's the pyramid. Yeah, Great
Yeah.
Pyramid.
All right. You always get that easy point. Yep, that is the only one that still exists today. Of those original 7 ancient wonders of the world, which is the only one that we have yet to prove actually existed?
Ooh, I know this one. I think I'm going last.
You're last. Let's go with the lighthouse.
I'm gonna go with the Hanging Gardens of Babylon.
I'm second guessing myself now. I thought I was so confident. Oh no! Library of Alexandria. I thought that. All right, whatever. I'll just go with that.
All right, so the answer is, Craig will get the point here. It is the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. We have not proved that they've existed. Basically, there's a shit ton of writings from the Greeks and Romans about this amazing place, but none of the writings from the actual era or places that it's from reference them at all. And any archaeological evidence we found has been purely circumstantial. We cannot prove that it's definitely for that. So that is the only one that we have not found hard evidence of.
Damn, because I know the library had burned down, so I didn't know if that threw into question.
The library is not on the list.
Oh, poop.
So of the official wonders list for modern day, what is the only thing on it that's not a place you can go to or something that you can see? But I promise it does exist.
You repeat that?
Sounds like a bad riddle.
So on the official wonders list for the modern day, there's something on the list. It's not a place you can go, and it's not something you can actually see.
I know it.
But it's a thing that exists.
The Mariana Trench. Because it's fucking black down there. You can't see shit, and definitely can't fucking go there. We're not living in the abyss.
He's got a point.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with the moon of Saturn, Titan.
Last time I was confident and I was wrong. This time I'm confident and I'm pretty sure I'm right this time. You ready for this? It's the internet.
Brian is right. It is the internet. So the internet is on the list of modern wonders of the world. But it's it's one of the only things that's not a place or things you can see. I don't know if it's Titan specifically, but I think Saturn's moons are one of the wonders of space. All right, so what modern day structure was inspired by the Colossus of Rhodes from ancient times?
Say that again. Sorry.
What modern structure was inspired by the Colossus of Rhodes from ancient times? So the Colossus is one of the ancient wonders of the world, and now there's a structure that exists today that was inspired by it.
Let's go with the Jesus statue.
That's a good one. She didn't say one of the new wonders, so I'm going to go with the Statue of Liberty.
I was going to say Statue of Liberty as well.
Yep, so Craig and Brian are going to get that point. The Statue of Liberty was inspired by it. So they're very similar in size. The Statue of Liberty is only 13 feet taller than the Colossus was. They're both symbols of freedom. They were both on pedestals, and they were both built in busy harbors.
There you go.
or 4 busy harbors rather. What city hosts both a natural wonder of the world and a modern wonder of the world? And bonus points if you can name both of them.
Repeat that one more time.
So what city hosts both a natural wonder of the world and a modern wonder of the world? And bonus points if you can name both of those wonders.
Going first on this quiz sucks.
Going first usually does suck.
I know. I want to go back to making the quizzes like I did the last couple weeks. Let's go with Greece. No, let's go with Italy. And let's go with, it's not the Library of Alexandria, but let's go with that one and the Colosseum.
Okay, I'm going to go with Brazil, and it was the Jesus, outstretched arm Jesus guy statue, and the rainforest in Rio or something, or whatever, that area.
I'm going to say the outstretched arm Jesus, for sure, same thing as Craig on that, but I don't think it's the rainforest. I'm going to say it's some sort of waterfall.
All right, so
Angel Falls.
Craig is going to get a 1.5 points, and so is Brian. So it's Rio de Janeiro specifically. And yes, they have the Christ the Redeemer statue. It's only the 5th largest statue of Jesus, but it's one of the wonders of the world. And then Rio's harbor is actually one of the official natural wonders of the world.
Oh. Interesting.
I was going to say beach, so I wouldn't have got that anyways, but I was closer with that, and I was like, I'm going to go with the rainforest because it's like the only one left, basically.
Yeah. All right. Legends say that the creator of what man-made wonder had his hands cut off so he could never replicate his work.
We have to know the creator's name?
No. I'm looking for the name of the wonder.
Like the one of the original wonders? Or just, fuck it. I don't know. The Taj Mahal. Fuck it. I don't even know.
That's actually what I was going to go with, was the Taj Mahal.
Shakespeare's Globe Theater, and the guy's name was Captain Unlucky.
Okay, so Burke and Craig are going to get the point.
Shit.
No one can actually confirm if this is true, but the legends say that after he had the Taj Mahal commissioned, he cut off the hands of everyone who created it because he didn't want them to be able to make anything better.
Wow. No kidding.
Assholes. Reminds me of this guy named Brian.
That guy's a dick.
What a dictator.
Cuts off the arms of people trying to get to space because he wants to own it.
Hey,
The
just
moon
the
is
moon.
America's.
Whatever America puts their flag in, baby.
Oh, God.
USA.
All right. Despite all of our amazing technology and information we have, we are completely unable to replicate which ancient wonder. So if we set out to duplicate one of them, we would be completely unable to do it.
Let's go with the pyramid.
I'm going to go with the Hanging Gardens because we don't know if they existed, so actually reproducing them would be roughly impossible.
I think Burke's right. I've seen enough History Channel stuff where they go discovering the pyramids and they don't know shit about it, so I'm going to say the pyramids.
Yep, you guys are going to get the point there. It is the pyramids.
Yeah.
So they have analyzed the crap out of the mortar, and we cannot replicate it. And we could not build it as precisely as they did because we do not actually possess the knowledge that they had to do that.
That's why they say it's made by aliens. That's what they say on History Channel.
Yep.
I love how that's on the History Channel.
It
That
is,
just
I know,
bothers
right?
me.
I swear, it's so stupid, but it is on there.
Are they not going to change it to, instead of an H for the logo, it's going to be a C for the Conspiracy Channel?
It's just a tinfoil hat on the H.
Isn't there like a History 2 channel where they've actually moved the actual history now? And
it's like everything they say, they put that little asterisk at the end of it. And it's like, this guy was evil, asterisk.
All right. There is an unproven and highly unlikely myth started in a magazine in 1893 and refueled by Robert Ripley of Ripley's Believe It or Not, that you can see which still existing man-made wonder from the moon.
I know this one.
You're going last anyway.
I know.
I got lost in that question, so let's go with the Great Wall of China.
It was a magazine and a guy who said, you can see this from the moon.
Great Wall of China.
It's Great Wall of China.
Yes, you all get the point there. Yep. They started that, and it's pretty much confirmed to be a myth because you cannot see that from the moon. The pyramids of Giza are the oldest of the 7 ancient wonders of the world, but which structure that is on a lot of other lists is actually even older still, and it does still exist?
Fuck. Let's go with. I have no fucking clue. I'm out.
Brian, if you want to go.
Machu Picchu.
I'm going to go with Stonehenge.
Craig's gonna get the
Damn
point.
it. That was the-
Stonehenge
nice.
is at least 300 years older than the pyramids.
Wow.
So
That was
Yeah.
right. As soon as he said it, I'm like, my God, he's right.
yeah, absolutely right. Which natural wonder of the world grows at a rate of 1/4 of an inch per year?
I'm gonna go last.
One.
I know it's not an ice shelf because we're probably losing about a foot
Yeah,
of that a year.
I wanted to flip this around because a lot of them are actually shrinking. So I was interested in the fact that some of them are growing.
Sheesh, this is a tough one. I'm gonna go with. I have no clue. Bamboo, even though it grows faster than that, like in a day. But bamboo. Yeah, my answer is just bamboo.
The Barrier Reef.
Mount Everest.
Burke's gonna get the point. It is Mount Everest.
See that?
Roughly,
You gotta earn that shit.
roughly every 4 years, it gets taller by an inch.
And the
So now
longer
gotta
you
go
put
back.
it off, the harder it's gonna be, America.
And you gotta go back to say,
Well, no, I'm saying the longer you
People
put it
are-
off, the harder it is. That's what I'm saying. This is a
but I'm
good
saying, like,
anti-procrastination
people are climbing
thing.
a bigger version now, so people who have done it before have to come back.
Right, and it's we just said it's the top 2 meters. So once it grows past those 2 meters, you haven't been there before.
True.
Yeah, I was thinking in my head, I was laughing really hard when Brian was talking about that earlier because I was like, he's gonna be so entertained by the fact that it's getting bigger now, and he's like, you gotta fucking earn it.
That's right.
So, I actually, fun fact, or I don't know, maybe it's not true, but GPS surveys said Houston sunk by like 2 or 3 centimeters because of all the flooding.
Wow.
I believe it.
Like, because of the weight of the water, the crust actually compressed.
I
and
would
Sure.
totally believe that's
Yeah.
I
entirely
can see
plausible.
that.
when I heard that, I was like, holy shit, it's going to flood worse next time.
All right, and the last question for tonight. Which natural wonder formed in 1943 in a farmer's cornfield?
What is crop circles, Bob?
Craig's laughing too hard to answer.
You fuck! I was gonna say that. I'm gonna go with hybrid corn.
Hybrid corn.
I'm gonna say.
What is a tractor?
What is John Deere?
what is nothing runs like a
I
deer?
was born in a field right in the middle of harvest.
God dang it. I think it's Old Faithful, the geyser.
Okay, so no one's gonna get the point here. I'm not shocked. But it's actually called the Paricutin volcano.
Volcano?
So in February of 1943, there were rumbling. I think this is in Mexico, by the way. There were some rumblings and ground shaking, so it felt like very light earthquakes. And on the 20th of February of that year, a farmer discovered a mound of soil had formed in his cornfield that was super hot. And then the ground, within the next couple of days, it rose up 6 feet with ash and sulfur because it exploded. And within a day, it was 500 feet high.
Holy shit.
And within 5 days, the 7,000 people that lived in those villages had to leave. Within a year, there was a church tower 2.8 miles away that was the only thing that was spared from the destructive lava. The volcano is now considered extinct because it hasn't had activity since 1952. So it was super active for 9 years and then stopped. And it stopped at 10,400 feet tall in his cornfield.
Huh.
I need a link for this because that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'll get you one.
Like, holy shit.
Yeah, really.
What?
That can just happen.
How did I not know of this?
Now imagine this. Okay, tonight you go to your kitchen to make like a sandwich, and all of a sudden you're like, man, the floor's bubbling up and it's really hot. Next thing you know, you get like a freaking volcano.
It's 10,000 feet high. Holy shit.
This was 1943.
Yep.
At least there was time for like science to catch up. Can you imagine had this happened before, people studied this type of thing?
Yeah, so I was actually reading that they were able to do a lot of studies on volcanoes that they had not been previously able to do, because like science was a thing already, and they were able to study it for the 9 years as it grew and grew and grew and was active, and then it's just stopped.
So this is like the Twister of the 40s, like the movie Twister, where they were able to study the tornadoes. Okay.
Well, I'm just thinking like this happens in the 1600s in some guy's field. Like they are running this guy out of town as a demon or something. Like he opened up the gates to hell.
Right, and then they're gonna
Like,
say, that the church was spared because it's a holy place and yada yada yada.
Oh my gosh, that would be
Wow.
insane.
That's why I included this, because I was like, that story is hilarious.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's literally just like a mound out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Well, it's the usual.
Wow.
What did you do today? I don't know. Had a volcano prop up.
And so many things on so many of the wonders lists are, even if they're man-made, they're much older generally.
I'm just waiting for.
So this was a very recent thing.
I mean, you heard about that? What's that volcano that we have there in Yellowstone that's ready to blow, or that's due to blow anytime soon? Yeah, it's due to blow anytime soon.
Again,
Super volcano.
Find it on History Channel. I mean, Conspiracy Channel.
That's right. That's right.
History Channel 1. None of that true History Channel 2 shit.
History Channel 2. This time it's creepier.
They're gonna have to make History Channel Ocho. They're like, guys, this is where we actually put the history. Don't tell anybody; they'll think it's fake because we called it the Ocho.
We'll really bury it down here. Burke, speaking of history, let's put this one in the books. Who won today?
Dude, Michelle did. 'Cause fuck that last question. That was legit. I'm still okay.
I'm on the Wikipedia page, just like looking over everything.
Same here. That's incredible.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got distracted making my quiz for about 3 hours, just like clicking links about this volcano.
Yeah. Okay, so do we want to know who got last or who got first?
Last.
Me.
Yeah.
Damn it. Just trying to get away with that one. Okay. And the runner-up was
No. We're not doing that bullshit. I hate that. Just say the winner. Just say the winner. Winner. So you say the winner.
You're doing a second runner-up.
It's a disservice to the person who wins to say the runner-up's name. That's a disservice to them.
No, it's not.
It
You're
is.
sitting there, you're like, I'm too important. You can't even say my name. Don't wear it out.
No, and you're only saying that because you know you won, you son of a bitch. You're just being all cocky and shit. No,
Second runner-up.
and the winner is Craig Van West.
and the runner-up.
No, you were fucking right.
Brian.
Yeah.
No, I won then. That's it. All right. You said the winner.
Craig wins. Craig wins the quiz for the podcast.
That's not how that should be. It's so dumb.
Craig wins.
It's
Keep
so
clapping,
dumb.
boys. Keep clapping. We're clapping on this
No
one.
one's clapping.
Craig
No
wins the
one's clapping for you.
Brian gets his name said as the first loser.
There's no such thing. It's the first. You're the first or you're last. That's it. It's terrible.
But there's only one thing that I think we all can agree on in this one is after Michelle brought up that volcano out of a cornfield thing, all of our brains just got dunked on. All of our brains just got dunked on.
Brian's face.
That's what you went with? Not the farmer got dunked on. Not like Mexico got dunked on, or the entire town got dunked on.
The entirety of Mexico gets dunked on because a volcano comes up and
I'm
spews
sorry.
like a 2 mile.
Did your country have a giant pimple pop up out of nowhere to shoot lava all over everybody and fucking drive out an entire village? No, it just didn't. That
No,
didn't
it
happen.
didn't happen.
Two
No,
villages.
Mexico. 2 villages. All of
Didn't
Mexico in
happen. Doesn't
1940
matter.
something. There's
Doesn't
only 2
matter.
villages there.
Spare
They
the
they
church.
lost both of them.
We're making a podcast and we're talking. This is about us, man. This is all about us and our brains.
This is all about bullshit, is what it is. They say you
No,
gotta
this is all
start.
about our brains. This is all about our brains. And if I've learned anything from Brian, is that once you've done something, you completely own it, and nobody else has any opinion on the matter.
Damn right.
So this is the volcano came up. The idea is ours. Our brains got broke. That's where we're going with this. Who cares about Mexico? Build a wall.
Build a wall. He chimes in with the build a wall. At least I wanted to own the moon. This son of a bitch wants to cut off people on the land. I get it.
Oh my god.
I can't breathe.
Oh man.